Alright guys, this is Astro Trends coming at you with another update for Bitcoin, June 9th, 2021. So it looks like this price action here is kind of playing out the way we talked about yesterday. These supports are still holding. Got the bounce at 32.3 since the time of the last video. Looks like we're working our way up to this trend line here, which we zoom out, it's actually held since the initial May 12th dump up here. So pretty significant downward trend line here. If we're able to break this trend line and hold it, we could see a turn to the upside for at least in the short term. Not to say that we're not still overall in a bearish trend here. And we got here at June 9th. Time is that? That should be at 7 o'clock Eastern time. Yeah. So this line here indicates exactly where we're going to see the solar eclipse, and that is squaring Bitcoin's Uranus-Saturn opposition. And what I was noticing here today, trying to predict whether this eclipse is going to push us through this support or through this resistance and maybe find some support here, or whether we're going to be bouncing down and seeing possibly a lot of people are calling 28 or just somewhere in the 20s range, is we have Jupiter here now co-present with Uranus. So Uranus is disposed to sudden price movements and unexpected price movements. But I think there is some hope here with Jupiter co-present in this sign. It's not conjunct by degree, it's at least almost 20 degrees apart. But that could give us it could be a hint towards a positive Uranus change, sudden change. And we see in this opposition between Uranus and Saturn, Uranus the urge to break out of barriers, and Saturn the principle and the archetype of barriers and structure and support and resistance. So with this eclipse, you see this tension between the force of that's trying to break out of structures and the force that's trying to maintain structure, whether that's resistance or support. In this case, the trend over the last couple of weeks has been this downward trend line here. And it doesn't take a trend line to indicate to you that Bitcoin has been dumping. But so far, the scenario we laid out yesterday, a build up to this trend line and a ultimate test at around 7 o'clock. If it were, I'm thinking we're likely to see it push through the trend line in the least, maybe poke above it, and when we come back for the retest, we'll see whether we fall through or whether we bounce up further, and maybe test some of those. We're looking at the 1 hourly here. If we look at the daily chart, maybe some of these moving averages that we've been, what do we have here? The 50-day moving average that we haven't touched since May 12th, around that time of the initial dump. So there's a good chance here, I think, that we could see Bitcoin at least push through the 20-day moving average, maybe possibly test the 50 before, I think, ultimately moving down again, though anything's possible. but we'll try to get another update out as soon as possible. Thanks.